Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom coming to you from Istanbul and I'm back for another Eurovision news update. Today I have climbed a mountain of slime to get you all of the most interesting and delicious news stories from social media. I'm going to pick the most incredible news gems and we're going to talk about them. So let's kiki. So even though it's only been 5 days since my last news update, actually quite a lot of stuff has happened. That's cool. We want to keep things alive in our post-Eurovision blues. Just to let you know, a couple of people have been asking me about Theodore Andre. He did a semi-expose interview with The Watcher. I am watching it. It is quite a difficult thing to watch. But yes, I finished watching it today. I've written all my notes. I'm going to make it into an episode. I don't know if it's going to be just about what he's talking in that or if I'm going to expand it into talking about Romania in general in the competition. Once I finish this video, that is the main video I'm going to be working on, so fingers crossed I get that out soon. Okay, so let's go to our first news story. So I've got hundreds of cards for you today, don't worry. And this is Eurovision auctioning off the props from the Liverpool show. So this auction is actually ongoing if you want to buy some, let's call it junk maybe, but still it's like kind of fun stuff here. I'll put a link in the pinned comment if you want to look at it yourself. But yeah, you can buy everything that was basically on stage at the show, pretty much everything that was on stage at the show. So we've got cylinder stages with like shafts of wheat coming out, in case you want to have like something interesting at the front door of your house or in your back garden, for example. Those are currently going for 70 British pounds. The price will have changed by the time I publish this video. Yeah, we've got the big hand from Stefania's show, which actually looks kind of cool. I like the way you can actually see the steps to get up the hand. So it almost looks like it could be a toy for a child in a playground or something like that. So that's currently 220. I'm going to stop saying the prices because they're going to change by the time you look at them. You can buy the main lectern desk that they use to announce the result. We've got these. I actually really like these trees. You can buy the trees that were in the Shum performance in the opening thing. I think that would look really cool in house. You actually put that in your hall. It's kind of like a all season thing. Obviously it looks a little bit more wintry, but I think even in the summer that would look awesome. Again, for your garden. I feel like I want to buy a house just so I can put all this stuff into my garden. I can't afford any of it. But just if I was one of those like incredibly rich sheiks from the UAE or something, I would just buy all this and put it into like my Eurovision themed garden and then invite people over for Eurovision themed parties. But I'm not a sheik, so it's not gonna happen. There's a couple of props here from Malta's thing. We've got this yellow bench. We've got a couple of the outfits as well. Actually, I really like the outfits from Stefania. And we've got Dathi, all the people who are standing behind him in the Dathi shirts you can buy. I think you buy 6 of them. Quite expensive right now. The current bid is £500. And then we got the cardboard cutouts. I just picked a couple of them, but if you want to go check it out, again, I'll leave all the links from this video in the pinned comments. You can go look at them. I like the concept of this. Like, it's about like finding more money and revenue streams. I would actually love if they used things like this kind of crowdfunding, GoFundMe style auctions and whatnot to actually make a pot of money that could help some of the countries who are struggling financially to come to Eurovision, like Montenegro, Bosnia. I know Bosnia's got more complicated issues, but you know what I mean, North Macedonia, these countries who kind of like financially can't make it, this like communal pot that we could kind of help them out with. I really like that as an idea. It probably won't work in practice, but you know what I mean, like these looking for extra revenue streams in order to fund the competition. This kind of innovation is really cool. Okay, let's go to our first story on Twitter, and this is from Eurovania. He's put all previous winners who've come back to the competition again. It's interesting, there's actually 18 in total. Obviously we know about Johnny Logan and Loreen from Sweden, but then we've got 16 others who were either came back once or twice, like Elizabeth Andreasen. She won in 85 with Bobby Sock, and then she came back and she came second in 96. I remember that because 96 was my first Eurovision that I like obsessed about. I had the VHS cassette and I forced my friends to watch it so many times. Literally, I think I watched that maybe like 15-20 times and people just hated me for it. So yeah, I kind of like this video. It's making a good point. Majority of the time that winners come back, they don't win again. I don't really understand this argument about winners not being able to come back or that it's not fair. My main passion when I was in my 20s was tennis. I followed the tennis tour absolutely religiously and I went to a lot of tournaments, and in tennis it's really normal that you have people winning lots of things. Like Nadal and Djokovic and Roger Federer, they won multiple Grand Slams. So for me, this concept of people like winning several things and being able to do so is very, very normal. I suppose it depends what perspective you're coming at it from, but for me it wasn't an odd thing. And I wonder, are we ever going to get another double winner? You know, if we look back, who's most likely to do it? I'm not sure. Maybe you can put your ideas in the comment section down below. Salvador would never come back. Netta, I don't think, could win again. Maybe Måneskin. I don't think, no, Måneskin wouldn't come back now. Who would come back? Maybe Jamala. She's potentially someone who would come back, I think, in the future. Monzemilov, yeah, I think he would as well if he got the right song. So who knows? Will we ever have another double winner? We had to wait 36 years between Johnny Logan and Loreen. Is it going to be another 36 years? Who knows? Okay, more delicious news coming for you. On the topic of previous winners, let's go to this video of Loreen, which I thought was super cute. It's being asked about where did she put her first statue, and it cuts away to her saying that she thought the statue was kind of ugly, so she gave it to her producer, and then it cuts back to her in the present day saying, oh, I think it's in my living room or something. So yeah, I love her. She's such a funny personality, and I actually really like her accent as well. I'm a big fan of her. I think she's brilliant, and she's such a great ambassador for the competition. So who knows, maybe she might come back in 39 now. Maybe I don't think she'd want to come back for a long time, but who knows, she could come back. I would love to see a woman win in like their 50s or 60s. That doesn't seem something that's kind of plausible nowadays, and I think if anyone was going to do it, I think it would be her. This just in, yes, breaking news. We have breaking news. We have a breaking news story. Another news story that broke was Twan van Nieuwenhuizen, which I'm sure I'm saying wrong because I said it in my Swedish accent for some reason. He's the Dutch head of contest who's kind of like a lead producer organizer who works in Martin Osterdahl. He did an interview with a Dutch podcast basically saying why was Denmark and Norway chosen as the openers, and the reason he gave was that they are family friendly. So it's actually something I referenced when the running order came out. I suggested that was the reason why Denmark was put first, because it is the song that has the most youth appeal in my opinion. I didn't realize it would be the same thing for Norway. I think they wanted to start with that because it was a really feisty, good song, and it's a great way to open the show. Maybe it was a bit of both, but yeah, interesting to show that that's one of the considerations that they had this year. Lots of people were replying to that saying, well then why was Renella the opener in 2022? Because obviously her show was pretty risque. I wonder, was that a little bit of a miscommunication? Because obviously the delegations submit their staging around a month before, and then they can make some like minor changes, but they basically commit to that staging. I wonder, did they kind of like not describe it very accurately, and the producers thought it was going to be like a slumber party, and instead it turned into like a little bit of a lingerie orgy. So I wonder, is that the reason why she was put first? It was a bit, because I remember that causing a huge controversy at the time. The producers weren't happy about how sexy it was, and then some smart ass joked about this on Twitter that if you don't want to be in the opening slot, then you should just cover yourself in bondage and strippers and blood and chains and oil and whatnot, and then you don't have to go in the opening slot. Although the qualification rate from the opening slot isn't that bad, but that's generally because they put a strong song there. Another hot as lava story for you is Eleni Foureira. She has talked to Greek press about her possibility of coming back. I should have linked this with my previous, oh, she didn't win before. Okay, never mind, it's not a relevant link. She was talking with the Greek media about the possibility of coming back to Eurovision again, but this time to represent Greece, because she considers that her home country. So yeah, that's kind of cool that she's thinking about coming back. I have to admit now, I loved Fuego. I thought it was amazing. I feel though that Chanel built off of Fuego last year. So Fuego was awesome. At the time, I remember everyone was like, wow, the choreography is incredible. This is so cool. I feel like the standards have gone up even higher. I feel like Chanel built on what Fuego was and added an even better and more entertaining and complex, not only choreography, but also cinematography. The angles there that they used, the camera cuts, were kind of like next level, and I felt like Noah Carell also was that kind of like higher level as well. So it'd be really interesting if she came back. What type of song would she pick? Would she go for a similar sound? Would she go for something quite different? I would expect most people would want her to come back with a similar sounding song, that same vein of like upbeat, powerful woman pop. But yeah, if she does come back, I think it would have to just be that next level. I really love this new type of super high quality choreo performances that are in Eurovision with slow-mo and unicorns. I trained dance for around 7-8 years when I was a kid, and I also used to follow a TV show called So You Think You Can Dance. I used to be obsessive about that, and they really go through lots of different genres of dance and showing off their stylistic stuff. So choreography is a hugely under-tapped resource at Eurovision. I think there's so much potential for people to be bringing really good quality choreographed. We usually just see this kind of like very boring contemporary dancing, like one person spinning around in a flowy dress. There's way more interesting styles of choreography that we don't see. We actually saw a little bit of crumping when we had Wayland for Netherlands in 2018. I think it's an absolute gold mine that hasn't been used, and I hope that we keep getting at least one of these super high quality dance shows every year. It'd be cool to see it from a guy as well. I know that Luca Hani did a dance routine for Switzerland, but I have to admit, I thought his dance routine was so basic. Like, I'm not even going to compare it to Unicorn and Slow Mo because they're not even in the same league in my opinion. So it would be cool to see like a really high quality male dance break. Anyway, really excited if she came back. That would be awesome. Let's go back to Twitter, and we've got a tweet here from Jamie Tweet. They're talking about the dependency of the Netherlands on jury points. So I never realized this before, but what they've gone through is the amount of televote and jury points received since 2014, and they've added them all up, and what they found was 40.2% of their points came from the televote and 59.8 came from the jury. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. 40-60 split, that's pretty normal. But then when you take away their first and second place from 2014 and 2019, which they did well with both the jury and the televote, we see that actually the amount of televote points reduces to 28.4% of their total, and jury is 71.6. So that is quite a large difference. We're almost looking at 3/4 coming from the jury. So that's an interesting thing to point out, that I didn't realize that Netherlands were so reliant on jury. You know, we talk about Sweden a lot, always doing much better with the jury than their televote. The Netherlands, I never really thought of them as not being as successful with the televote, and since 2014 and 2019 they haven't gotten more than 100 points in the televote. So look, we've spoken about this a little bit already, that Netherlands is kind of sending very similar music. It's kind of this very sad, introspective dark pop, which I really enjoy. But yeah, I think a lot of Dutch fans as well are thinking, okay, we aren't one-dimensional, we have other types of music in the Netherlands, why don't we try and show that off? So maybe that might be something different for them to try next year, and possibly just try and work a little bit more getting a better televote, especially if we continue to keep the televote only semi-finals. So keeping that in mind, we've got this other thread from Technicolor which goes into some of the potential artists for next year and some of the options, and one of them I kind of liked, which I know is a little bit of a naff option, but Criss Cross Amsterdam, who do these kind of like fun electronic dance sounding songs in Dutch. I think it's these 3 guys, and then they usually have like a female artist who comes in and does the vocals. I actually wouldn't mind something like that. It'd be so different for the Netherlands just to send something like more fun. And I don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed all of those dark entries, but yeah, it's just a bit of variation and trying a slightly different strategy, although their recent strategy has worked for them. You know, they've had these great results, but with semi-finals changing to televote, maybe they need to adjust their strategy just a little bit. That thread went through some other ones: Gold Band, Youth, April Darby, Meryl, who I know applied in the national selection this year, and people assume that she came second. I don't know if it's official she came second, but it's assumed that her song did pretty well. So yeah, I like that thought of going up, and I actually would like to hear another song in Dutch. I really enjoyed the Diepte and the fact it introduced the Dutch language, which I really like, and I would like to see more of that. So the thought of a happy language in Dutch is like, wow, that's like double amazing. So anyway, let's see what happens. Now, this news is not so much breaking, it's a little bit stale, but I realized I've never actually talked about Luxembourg coming back to the competition. Obviously, it was announced at the start of the grand final, but yeah, I'm really happy about it. You know, I think it's great to have a new country. I hope that they're coming with some sort of strategy. I have to admit, I think previously I was like, I want as many countries as possible, but realistically, I think it's better when these countries are actually adding something. There's no point just participating with something that's kind of like really weak song, or with a system that's just not working. So I am for the smaller countries to join, but generally I think that they need to have quite a unique strategy in order to put forward something that's high quality. Obviously, just having a lower population, there's less songwriters, there's less just general people to come up with ideas, there's generally less funding as well. So I do think that they need to think outside the box. I don't know what type of strategy Luxembourg is going to go for. Obviously, it's been like 30-40 years since they're in the competition, so I'll be interested to see what they do. I'm happy to have them back, but yeah, I'm hoping that they're going to do something impactful and not just kind of flop in the semi-finals. So I'm thinking a little bit of Montenegro. You know, I would like Montenegro to come back, but at the same time, I think really Adio is the only song that I've ever downloaded of theirs. I like The Right Thing as well from 2016, although I thought the staging was too dark. It actually did very well with the jury. It bombed in the televote. So yeah, I want to see these countries come back, but just competitively. More delicious news for you. Something that's coming up around the corner is Junior Eurovision. So I know a lot of people aren't too keen on following the Junior Eurovision, but it does help to fill that gap between one season and the other. So this year it's happening on the 26th of November. It's actually starting at 8 p.m. for some reason. I don't know why, because most kids won't be able to watch it because it's going to be too late. I'm not sure if they're trying to like get more of an adult audience in, but a couple of news things. They've removed pre-recorded vocals this year, so everyone's going to be singing completely live. I know this is a thing that certain people really want. Dathi, I know from Iceland, is a big proponent, supporter of having no pre-backing vocals. Me personally, I'm opposite. I don't mind pre-backing vocals. I do not want a singing competition. I want to to be entertained. I want songs to sound as good as possible and performers to not be embarrassed on stage. So me personally, I don't mind backing vocals. I want to watch the screen and hear the song and see a great performance. I don't want to be like, ooh, this is like a car crash and this person's being humiliated in front of 180 million people. I'm sure there's like a big split in people who want it and who don't. But perhaps they're trialing this in Junior Eurovision this year. We have 13 countries confirmed so far, including all of the big five. Germany, Italy, France, UK, and Spain have all confirmed already, which is really great. I imagine we'll finish with maybe 17 or 18 countries. And good news is I'm going to be covering the whole competition this year, assuming that I haven't gone into abject poverty. But my intention is to review all the songs and do my analysis one. I'll probably do it in a slightly child-friendly way, so less swearing. And I'm not going to say that someone's completely shit, because these are like 12-year-olds, but you know, I'm still going to try and be as honest as possible without destroying a child's dream. Actually hoping that I can attend the competition as well in Nice on the 26th of November, so that's something to look forward to. If you aren't subscribed to me already, make sure that you do, so that you've got me bookmarked if you want to find me in the future when I'm covering Junior Eurovision. Oh my god, I'm running out of burning daylight. I'm burning daylight. It's getting really dark. This apartment is a little bit dark in the first place anyway. Some good news for those who are fans of Netta. She's releasing her first album. Now I have to admit, this makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why would you win Eurovision 2018 and not try and capitalize on that? I have to admit, I do feel like a lot more artists should try and get their albums out as soon as possible after Eurovision, because that's when there's a spike in interest in their careers. I understand a lot of them haven't got enough material, so they want to wait until the next Eurovision when people start to search them again and then they release them. But yeah, Netta decided to wait 5 years before releasing her album. Very surprising. I just assumed that she already had a couple albums. I know Bassa Sababa was quite a big hit. It was like Fortnite or Computer Game or something like that. So I don't know why it's taken her so long. John's Tears actually released his album a couple of weeks before Eurovision as well. He kind of waited 2 years to release that. If I was in Eurovision, even if it was like a pile of crap, I just want my album out as soon as possible. Like buy it. I need to like pay rent and stuff. Obviously there's factors within the music industry I don't understand. Okay, and unfortunately I got some sad news to finish with my thing. Oh, this is like very, very sad news. It is that UMK is leaving Twitter. I don't know why. They just left this message saying, thank you all, UMK leaves Twitter. I'm not sure if it's to do with negativity or them getting attacked or they're not feeling like it's a legitimate platform anymore. I know that, look, Twitter is a rocky ship at the best of times. But yeah, this is a little bit sad to see. UMK obviously is the Finnish national final, which is, for me, has become one of the best, if not the best national final in the last 2 or 3 years. So sad that they're leaving, but apparently we can still find them on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. So I still follow them on YouTube, so I'll see their videos there. But yeah, it's always sad to see someone who's contributing really well to the community leave something. Okay, look, I was going to cover a couple more news stories, but my god, there's so much news stories today. Like I've got thousands of cards. We could go on all day, so I'll probably leave it just there. I want to say a couple of shout outs to people who are supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you so much to Leo, Gabe Salgado, Martin in New York, and Letta. Thank you so much for supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee. You guys are awesome. And then also thank you to Benedict W, who supported me on PayPal. You're also awesome, which is kind of hard to say. Anyway, if you want to support me on my content creator journey, like I said, I'm going to try and keep creating content all the way up to next season if I can. There are links in the description below if you want to do that. But don't worry, just watching my videos is enough to support me. Thank you so much for watching. If you have some thoughts about what kind of stuff I was talking about today, leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you like this analysis video and you want to see some more, I'll leave a couple of them for you here. And thanks so much for watching. I'm seeing you near the Eurovision update video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.